we are, at this point, we are good to go.
Woo!
Turn that down. And hello, everybody.
Hey, Stay.
Yay. I'm just going to let you open. You'll open and I'll close. That's the way that'll work from now on. Because you've got the opener and I've got the closing. So
all right, yeah, I like it. So, hey, Stay, it's me,
works.
JC. And as always, my partner in crime.
This is Chrysalis, otherwise known as Shannon, depending on which way you want to go with that. But, either way, it works.
Exactly. Lots to talk about today.
Oh, my
Lots
God.
of good stuff in Stayville.
Yes. And we're going to make the disclaimer because we know it is comeback week. And we know the general consensus during comeback week is we are supposed to keep things upbeat and positive and avoid all the negativity and the antis and what, like anti as in like bad anti, not as in like anti family anti, because some people say auntie and some people say auntie. So we are going to attempt to do that, though there are some topics here that I know we want to discuss today that may kind of, we have to be careful
with a smile and a nod, so then it will sound like it's positive.
Exactly. But no, we don't have anything bad to talk about today.
No.
It's just the fact that, the perception being what it is and the way people can.
The fact that they posted it now says volumes to me.
Okay, so what we're talking about is technically speaking, they actually posted it yesterday, because when I went back into fans, they had posted it yesterday on the 19th, and then they posted it again today. So with that,
19th for them, not the 19th for us.
They did it twice, so it would have been.
Yeah, I didn't see it the
R19.
I saw it just on R19.
I didn't see that either. So obviously, it's being kind of it's being what it is. And I don't know whether it was just notification didn't go out, because I noticed with fans, there's usually a delay, even when the guys are live and replying to things and liking things and interacting. There's usually like a 5 to 10 minute delay, at least for me. So I don't know why we didn't get it yesterday, but it did go out. One did go out yesterday, and then another did go out today. And we're talking about the legal notice that they put out about how JYPE is currently in the process of pursuing legal processes against anybody, both nationally and internationally, for them that have in some way, shape, or form defamed, slandered, or otherwise compromised the safety of their artists. And I'm exceptionally glad to see that. We stand for
round
all of the round of applause. Yes. For all of the negatives that come with the industry, and for all of the ways in which the companies have not always been the best stewards of their talent. When you see a company actively taking those steps, applaud it, please, because it's important that we do that. I'd also go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I need them to go after some of these Twitter accounts, because they are some of the worst. The X accounts. I mean, there was one today. I try not to go on X, but occasionally I do, because there are still some Stay that I follow that I enjoy that are still actively post on Twitter. And I saw one of the antis that is an anti-Felix and a Hunjin Ake, whatever you want to call it. And she said, go ahead and sue me. And I'm like, with some of the stuff she was posted, I'm like, your butt is probably getting reported, and you'll probably see that, because some of the stuff, some of the stuff they post, my God.
Well, it comes down to, you've got your keyboard warriors. They're anonymous. There's that anonymity behind, they don't, even if they are using their own profile picture as their profile picture, there is that level of, haha, you can't catch me.
Right.
And unfortunately, go talk to Disney. Yes, they can.
Mm-hmm.
That if they want to, they are Liam Neeson. They will find you. They will use their skills. And they will track you down. But it's. I would like to point out that that there's and a lot of people tend to forget this. Don't just report something to the platforms, because places like Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, TikTok, any of them, they can only go so far and they can only do so much. They are beholden to whatever the free speech rules and regulations are for each country that they are in. And that differs for every country. Case in point, I've seen instances where people want to go after journalists and whatnot, and that's all well and good, but there's this thing called freedom of the press, and it exists not just here in the US, it exists in other countries as well. And the journalists actual journalists are a lot more protected than, say, you and me.
Right.
Number one. But number two, it kind of goes along the lines of the statement that, I might not agree with what you're saying, but I will defend with my life your right to say it. And that includes speech that makes you uncomfortable, that you don't like, that you aren't happy with, that in some way, shape, or form offends you. That's the reason why certain things are categorized and why there are actual rules on the books as to what constitutes legal and non-legal speech.
Right.
And we have to be careful as well that we don't abuse that or overutilize that, because I see that a lot too, where people will be like, oh, well, this person's saying this, that, or the other, go block them and report them to the platform. It doesn't do, I hate to say it, but it doesn't do anything.
Right, but it depends. Doesn't it depend though on the ugliness or of the language? Like if there's like physical threat, or I'm going to come after this person, or I'm going to do A, B, and C to this person, it should be like.
And that's
there was a YouTube that came up recently that we know about that was the case, which I still to this day don't understand the amount of followers that person had, regardless of what they were saying. That's a little scarier in and of itself.
I accidentally added to that because I was one of the people that was like, "Hey, go report this one." But and I'm going to get to that in a second, because that's right. I am speaking from experience here, sort of, not in the way that you think. Right. Don't get me wrong. But the aspect of it is that the platforms can only do so much. Now, obviously, if it is truly behavior unbecoming, it is. You're talking about actual safety. You're talking about actual stalking
when you report it, right?
Bullying,
actually
stalking, that. Then by all means, report it to the platform, because the platform should know. The only fallback to that, though, is that the platform shuts that particular account down. They're just going to go make another account.
Right.
So what is best to do in those situations, when you find those particular accounts or when you find those particular posts or whatever, you need to take screenshots. Take screenshots of the content. Do what you can to include the username and the platform that it is being posted on or being published to, and then take those screenshots and send it to fan@jype.com. The reason for that is because the platforms can only go so far. The platforms can only shut the account down. Shutting the account down realistically doesn't do anything, because they'll just make a new one. But JYPE,
when an account is set up, now this is something that maybe it's beyond my IT knowledge, but every computer has an IP address. Mm-hmm. If they start a new account, but it's the same computer and the same IP address, it doesn't recognize that.
I think
there's nothing that can recognize that.
I am not an IT person, but
if anybody sees this in playback and knows that answer, let me know, because it's kind of the way it says you can only vote once from one IP address. Well, if they can recognize that one IP address, why can't these social media websites realize when they shut down one account and come another, they could totally get rid of that IP address and you cannot use that anymore?
I wonder if it's because, technically speaking, if they set up another account, that doesn't mean that they're going to set up another account that's going to protect. Like they can't proactively say, okay, well, they're setting up another account, but they're going to do the exact same thing they did on the last account.
Right.
And I don't know if that's the reason
that you're not going to do that. I don't know. No, they should put some sort of security that you need to prove that you can't use ABC language, and if you choose to do that, then you can have your account.
Well, and I think the problem with that, now you're coming back into the whole free speech aspect of things, where it's like, okay, and what then the companies are controlling what we, the consumers, can post or not post, and if they could do it for one person, they can.
Well, they're already doing it with the algorithm to put people where they want to go. So
in a sense, but we sign up for that. Like that's
yes. So for the same way we sign up when we have an Apple and it's listening.
How many people actually read that stuff? But at this point in time, but
I do now, but I didn't before.
But it's important that actual behavior unbecoming, and I'm not talking about, I didn't like the outfit that the guys wore at this particular thing, or I don't like this song. Okay, you don't like a song. You don't have to like every single song that they make. We'll get to that topic at some point in time, I'm sure, as well. Like, you don't have to like every single thing that you see.
Right.
And your opinion might differ from somebody else. And if that's the case, that's perfectly fine.
Right.
But it's important that you recognize that if it is actual, honest to God threats, bullying, harassment, actual harassment, not, and I'm going to touch on that here in a minute too, that you report it directly to JYPE, because even if the platform shuts down that account and they start a new one, JYPE will at least have the record of what the username and such was, so that they can go back to the platforms and then they can start doing investigative, forensic backend stuff to figure out who that account is, who that account was, if they have any other accounts currently going, that type of thing, to be able to address it and take legal action if legal action is needed. Also, bear in mind, legal action is not always needed for every single one of these situations.
Right.
A lot of the times you are dealing with, and I hate to say this because I was just talking about it with my young one myself, because I wanted to make sure that they were aware that, hey, look, this is not how you do things on the internet. And of course they were like, that's stupid. Why would I do? But
yeah,
but thank God. But the thing is that a lot of the times I have found, at least so far, a lot of those accounts that really, really cross the line are those under the age of 18.
Correct.
And
but they still need to shake them up. Like, they still need to process it and send them a cease and desist, or there's going to be consequences. Because when you get a big old legal letter like that, sometimes that's enough to shake up in some, and others may need to have that pressed a little bit more. But yes, I agree. It seems like
as a parent,
yeah.
As a parent, excuse the dog, and when they're also pressure watching my apartment. So if you happen to hear any extraneous noises today, that's what's going on. But as a parent, if my children were to participate in that sort of behavior,
right,
guarantee you, if I were to get any sort of notification in the mail, email, whatever, that would be mail, it wouldn't be email, by the way, associated with anything along those lines, we having a sit down, and we're having a whole bunch of things,
and that computer's going away
and taken away and revisited and whatnot. So if it is somebody that is underage, and unfortunately it is a lot of the time, then that needs to be addressed. And it's unfortunate that that's the way it needs to be addressed, but that's the way it needs to be addressed. And
but I've also seen some adults say some pretty ugly things too. So I mean, it definitely needs to be taken care of. And a lot of them, and God, however you lean bias wise or whatever else, it seems like a lot of these are the, solo stan accounts that really pitch some hatred towards the other guys. And it's like, you do realize that the guys will always pick each other over you. Like, this isn't a competition. Like, you lose even before you even decide to throw your hat in the ring.
Yep.
Like, it makes no sense in the free world to me. None. Like, that you think trouncing one of their own is going to make you stand out? I don't think so.
Well, at that point, I don't think number one, I don't consider that person a fan.
No. Oh no,
you are not a stay. If you are participating in that sort of behavior, you are not a stay.
No.
Now, I could sit there and say, to the end of time, yes, I am OT8, and realistically speaking, everybody should be. We can't make everybody be OT8, but there's that aspect of, okay, even if there are members, like, I'm going to take it back to my original boy band, which was New Kids on the Block, and poor Danny spent that whole entire freaking part of their career as what would be considered the visual whole nowadays of groups. Mm-hmm. And that poor man, the whole entire time that I was a kid and listening to that, if you found somebody that admitted that they were actually technically, that Danny was their bias, even though we didn't say that that's what it was back then.
Right.
It is highly unusual. And even the ones that were, they wouldn't say it because they were afraid of the shit they'd get for saying it.
Right.
And that's extremely, like, how freaking petty were we? Like, and not that I participated in that behavior, but at the same time, I'd sit there and go, what? I mean, was he my fave? No. I was a Joey and a Jordan girl, like most people were. But it was that aspect of things. And
I mean, if you go back and look at the history of boy bands and any kind of boy band in that capacity, there's always one or two that don't.
Yeah, that are not as popular.
Right. And which sucks, but that happens in everyday life too. I mean, when you had a group of friends, there was always the friends that were most out there, and then there was the couple friends that were like the wallflowers and didn't get the attention or whatever else. And it's the same thing. I mean, you look at NSYNC, it was Chris Kirkpatrick, I think.
I didn't pay attention to NSYNC.
Oh, you didn't pay attention. All right. So NSYNC,
I was in my early 20s when those guys were all popular, and it was not, I was well deep into the goth industrial.
Right.
I don't care.
And Backstreet Boys, you could say it was Howie. You know what I mean? Like a little bit, which would be like the Danny.
Yeah.
It's the way that kind of like it followed that sort of capacity. Right. So it's just if you look at K-pop overall, and especially groups, there are members that are forgotten about. There shouldn't be.
Overlooked. I don't want to say forgotten about. I would say overlooked.
Overlooked.
But the point is that you can't make anyone be OT8 or OT7 if your group is 7P. Like you can't. Right. You can't make anybody do that, but it's important that even if they're not all your faves, even if they're not all part of your bias line or even biases or anything like that, that you remember that these guys, all of them, whether we're talking about Stray Kids, whether we're talking about ATEEZ, whether we're talking about BTS, whether we're talking about Hypen, doesn't matter which group, and even the girl groups too, doesn't matter which group you're talking about. All of these guys work together, live together, play together, everything together. They are, for all intents and purposes, a brotherhood. Family.
Yeah.
And like you said, they will always choose each other over anyone that acts like that. And anybody that acts like that and they solo out one and one person only, and that's it. I'm sorry, you're not a Stay. You're not an 18. You're not a whatever. You're not Army.
Can I just, and I will say this is a very large statement, but I'm going to say it. There is no artistic hole. There is no visual hole. There is no talent hole in the whole of OT8 Stray Kids. Every single one of them is a powerhouse. Every single one of them is talented through the nose. And every single one of them is absolutely stunning and beautiful. I said it. You could agree with me or not, but it's the truth. I mean, even looking at how they're rolling out Karma. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, seriously? Get the hell out of here. Like, I don't even want to talk to you if you can't. Come on.
Seriously. And we're getting, I don't know, I know.
That's a good segue.
I was going to say, and I know there are times in the past where apparently they have done like little teaser music videos of things, and we have not gotten actual music videos of the things that they did the teasers for. So I'm kind of hoping that I'm kind of curious to see what, if any, will be the case here. I want to save that though, because one of the people we were considering for bringing on for additional comments wanted to discuss that. And I don't know if we're going to get to before the comeback or if it'll be after the comeback, but we'll see.
Okay.
Because we know that there's going to be content after the comeback. Like they're not going to drop every single video all at once. We'll get Ceremony. If Ceremony has a full video, which I would imagine it will, because it's technically the title track of the album.
I think what we're getting that's the video shoot. That was what it said, music video teaser.
Right, but we got a music video the other day for which
was another part of Ceremony. We got 3 total. The first one was Bleep. Then we got the little teaser of
Creed.
Then we got the one where Hyunjin with his green hair with the thing that was from Ceremony, and then this is the second one from Ceremony. Even though I think it says first teaser, but I think it's
curious. When an album drops, how do you approach it? Are you a listen to the whole album and then watch the music video, or watch the music video and then listen to the whole album person?
I'm trying to think of the last time. What did I do? I watched the video and then listened to the album, but I'm not against listening to the whole album and then watching the music video either.
Yeah, and then I do listen to the whole album. Like I will listen to even if it's songs that we have, even if they release the song ahead of time, I will still listen to the whole album.
Right.
But oh my God, the visuals today. And I need to go trademark useless jacket. Officially, I just need to trademark useless jacket. And it's always a jacket. It isn't a shirt. It is always a jacket of some sort, but we need to trademark useless jacket. Chris, if you watch this, Chad, if you see this at all, go trademark useless jacket. Trust me.
Yeah,
Because
he'll
then
be
they
rolling
can
in
sell
the
it on
dough.
merch. Then they can sell it on merch, and we will just and we'll buy it. We will buy it because it's.
I also love that the stylist constantly put Felix in blue, even though the color lady told him that blue is his color. I think that's the best. I'm just like, it's like Felix's way of going.
Well, okay, but I wanted to yell at that color because okay, yeah, the color, the blues she was using on him during that whole color assessment thing were kind of, you know, he was getting very drab. I get it. I get where she was coming from. But at the same time, when he's on stage, when he's in music videos, when he's in front of a camera, he's got makeup on. That's going to change.
Under a lot of lights. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to change the complexion. Like,
yep.
It didn't. In case of point, before we got on, my laptop camera came on and I looked like a freaking ghost. Not that I'm not pale as hell, but I was like completely washed out. And then I realized what was going on, and now all of a sudden I look human again. But and I'm not wearing makeup like I am, but I'm not wearing foundation or anything.
Right.
So like, and if that's me, just plain old little me, can you imagine what Felix is going through? But it's also like from that point on, Felix was like, big F you. I'm just going to wear blue every single time.
I know. I love how Louis constantly put him in blue, that blue suit that he wore for the cruise wear show, and this jacket. And I was like, yeah, that's my homeboy.
Screw you, I'm going home. That's my color.
But you know what also shocked me, and this is so funny. So everybody's like, oh, you know, Hyunjin is the second part of that ceremony, but it sounds like Chan. Well, Chan said that Hyunjin's voice is, especially in Escape, there's parts of Escape that I thought were Chan that are Hyunjin. Yeah. So it's the same. Like, I loved it. I was like, yeah, you know, this is like, because he's really coming into his own with his vocals, and it's like,
yes,
you know what I mean.
They all are, but then that segues into the Two Kids room, even if we needed to. But we'll touch on Two Kids room here in just a little bit, because it's unbelievable to see how dedicated they all are to their crafts. And I say crafts because obviously we're talking about more. That's not just dancing. It's not just singing. It's not just rapping. The fact that Hyunjin, for any baby stays out there that were unaware, if you are watching this, when Hyunjin was scouted, Hyunjin had no experience whatsoever in any of this. He did not dance. He did not sing. He did not rap. Nada. He had no experience. Had really not had any interest in it beforehand. And the whole reason why that man is as good as he is because he did not want to sit back on his laurels and just rely on his visual. Even though everybody kept telling him that, and it bothered him. Like, he's mentioned it in the Two Kids room. I think it was with Changbin, that it bothered him that people were like, yeah, you're pretty, as some friends of mine would say. And he didn't like that. That wasn't that wasn't part of his jutei was, it was like,
which is true, because think about it, like, and from being experienced in theater, when you're constantly cast like I was as the ingenue every single time, it's like, come on, like, and it's because I had a look. I mean, when I was younger, I kind of look the same now. Blonde, fair. Okay, she could play the girl. She could play the she. But and then you and then but you want to play like the evil witch, or the mischievous fairy, or you want to like broaden your horizons, but you're kind of just pigeonholed in this thing. And so I understand how Hyunjin felt, because a lot of times it's just like but I'm so damn proud of him, because look how far he's come. I mean, look how far Felix has come with his voice. He didn't trust his voice for a long time. I'm only got the deep. No, you have many layers and colors to your voice, kid. Like it's just, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Lino's got a voice like, come on, and he could dance like any kind of type of dance. I mean, it's like he's the full package. So it's like they all have this. Chanbin has a beautiful singing voice.
Yep.
So it's like you gotta kind
of, but they all pursue it. They all actively, none of them sit back.
Even with Seungmin, even though he could sing and he he won what he did when he was a trainee, or he was voted the second best trainee or whatever it was. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I mean, but he still works at his craft. He still takes lessons. He still wants to improve, because you constantly want to improve.
Yeah, and that when you take that into account, it just kind of drives home the whole, we're standing in the right group, people.
Right. It's absolutely true.
Because again, it's that aspect of how awesome is it that with how busy they are, and how insane their schedules can end up being, and the fact that they all talk about not really getting enough sleep. Even the ones that don't talk about sleep that often don't talk, when they do talk about it, they're not always, they're like amazed when they actually get a good night's sleep, So that says a lot. But then when you add into the fact that they're still constantly pursuing improvement and constantly trying to work harder. I love Ian to death. Ian child, you are wonderful. You are amazing. We know how hard you try. You don't need to keep beating yourself up that you're not doing good. I'm just telling you that right now, because every single time I see Ian's comments on Bubble about, I didn't do great, I need to do better.
Yeah. But you know what? When you're always striving for that next thing, I can understand how he feels. And he's vocalizing that, which I think, and I don't think he's looking for, no. So like for people to say that. It's just in him to be that way.
Yeah.
But it's Chan does, and it's a very Chan rub it off on Ian thing.
I think Ian was just, because Ian's more, Chan is self-deprecating.
Yeah.
But Ian is very, like, Ian from the get-go has always been like, I'm not doing this right. I'm not doing this right. I need to be doing, you guys are amazing. I need to be doing more. I need to be doing more. And the guys have always tried to remove that for him. Try to basically indicate that that's not necessary. I mean, with Kingdom and the one tiny little,
I remember that. Yeah.
Tiniest little crack, but that tiniest little crack added humanity. It's like there's that all of it. It kind of goes back to what JYP was saying, where like, okay, when they're all together, the technical perfection may not be completely all in, which of course is part of the reason why every single one of them keeps trying to be better. But it adds that humanity into it. It added that emotion into that song, where it's like, okay, you could tell what he was feeling when he sang it, and that's amazing. And and Chris was trying to point that out to him, like, no, you didn't mess up. It is what it's fine. But I think he's just always been that way, and that's also one of the things I love about the fact that regardless of how intrinsic the hierarchy is in Korean culture when it comes to age, I forgot what the term for it is, but regardless of how intrinsic that is, I love the fact that Chris and the guys turn that on its head.
Yeah.
And I guess I know, I'm sure, and not that I'm a psychiatrist in any way, shape, or form. This is not legal or medical advice we're giving out today. But I'm sure part of that is because since Chris was always the maknae, and always he didn't want his maknae to feel like he did.
Right.
So let's turn this up on it, and the maknae's on top, maknae on top, and maknae eats first, and maknae gets the awards, and and Ian gets all of this, and this, because it's also that recognition from the group that, hey, kiddo, you're doing it
right.
And yes, we can appreciate how hard you're working to do it, and we can appreciate all your work ethic and your drive and your determination. I just wish he didn't beat himself up so much, because
I agree. Yeah,
you don't need to. You really don't.
None of them really need to. I mean,
true.
They really don't. But I can understand. But I understood that mentality, because I was always like that, especially when it came to dance. Like I could see Lino practicing, or Felix practicing, because he wants to look a certain way, or he wants to be, and you don't get it off the bat, because I was the same damn way. I used to practice until my feet would bleed, or I would get hurt, or whatever it was, you know what I mean, because I wanted to be that much better. So I do get that mentality.
And see, I feel bad, because the whole reason why I didn't become a singer is because I did not have the discipline to do that. And I regret it now because there's like, I at one point in time in my life, I had a 6-octave range, and now I'm lucky if I have 2.
Yeah.
So, there's that aspect of I use it or lose it. And
No, exactly. I could do
know.
almost a quadruple pirouette. I bet you I could get maybe 2 now. Maybe.
But
Day.
I did apply it some when I was fighting, because there were a lot of people that I screwed up my first year fighting really, really bad. I got a very, very big head and a great big giant chip on my shoulder, and
yeah,
I own that. That was my bad. And I was literally like blacklisted essentially for like 4 years. So when I was finally allowed to come back and do it again, I was adamant that I was going to. And it didn't help that my boyfriend at the time was the assistant director. So I was trying to fight the nepotism.
Right.
There as well. And cronyism. I won't say nepotism. It was cronyism of that aspect of things. So I was pushing myself to just be good at it and like do the thing and whatnot. So I can understand it from that degree.
Yeah.
But it's you don't need to beat yourself up, loves. You're wonderful. Literally, you all could read the freaking phone book and we would probably be like,
yes, exactly.
Because you'd figure out a way to do it so it would be fun and enjoyable and entertaining, or at least funny, and we would all be like, yes!
Moving on to funny, entertaining, and let's discuss Chan's bubble before we go discuss Two Kids Rooms, since that's a little bit more emotional, because he's teasing again or not, depending on how you want to look at it. Because my thing is, I was talking to Pixie Bach about this. I said, because I was thinking in my head, I'm like, don't usually with a comeback, don't they, like, because they're still looking, they, the Benny, Felix, and Chris were on SBS News, and they were in their black suits, and they still had, Chan had his long hair, Felix still had his long blonde hair, Benny still had his full short, black hair. And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, don't they change their appearance like usually before a comeback? So I'm like, and then of course, as soon as I'm thinking this, Chan like literally like psychically texts and says, "Oh, I'm shaving my head," and I'm like, I go, "I'm sure." I smiled and like, okay. I'm like, but whatever you do, we'll love it. So thanks, and like, but part of me is like, everybody's like, oh, I'm not believing him after the 18th thing and everything else, and I'm like, I wouldn't call this man's bluff, because he would be the type of guy to say that and then go ahead and do just that, because everybody's expecting him to not.
Yeah, it's like honestly, he can do whatever he wants with his hair.
Right. I don't care. Any of them could do whatever they want with their hair. Like, time out, full stop. This is our opinions, what we're about to say about any one of their appearances. They could do whatever they want. They could dye it blue, black, yellow, rainbow. I don't care. They could do whatever they want because it makes them happy. This is just our opinion.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said it on Bubble, as I'm sure plenty of other people did. He wants to go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. We will. I'm still gonna be wrecked 5 ways till Tuesday. I just want to see it pulled back once. Like, can you at least pull it back once and take a picture of it so we have it for posterity?
Do we think it's long enough though to pull back once right now? The way it is? You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like maybe in a little ponytail, not like a big one, but like mine. Like I'm saying, like this.
It would have to be like Hyunjin BMA.
Yeah.
Pullback.
Yeah.
That's structured, but just once.
Because I said this to a couple people on Threads today, and I even made my own post. I said, listen, I don't care what Chan does. He could shave his head. He had Ben do it. Ben looked good. So come on, let's go. And I said about Felix, about, he loves being blonde and he loves his long hair. And I get that. But here's the deal. And the stylist, like you said, keeps cutting it and like leaving some of it. But I think it needs one good cut. He could keep it blonde. But if he had one good cut, even if it was the undercut from God's Menu or something similar, right? That undercut, because he could still have the highlighted on top with the thing. It would look so good. And then he could grow it out and do what he wants as it gets going. You know what I'm saying? Because when that grew out, that was a fabulous grow out. I've had pixie cuts. I've had short. I'm talking short hair. And I have a similar texture. I have a lot of hair and it's thick. so it would grow out, you know, and like some of the growths, and you could do kind of like what Hunjin did. You could make it all wild and crazy. I mean, I really think that would do him some justice. And he still gets to be blonde. He gets one of the two. So that's just my opinion. Remember, I'm not saying he needs to do this. I'm not saying I'm going to be pissed if that's it. No, I'm just saying that's my opinion. I would love to see him do that.
Well, I think since he went back to blonde right before the LV show, I think what they've been doing is they have been, you know, progressively as the damage grows out, cutting it off. You know, keeping it kind of shoulder length, cutting off the damage once it gets a little bit longer than that, and then just bleaching out the roots. So I think they're finally maintaining it the way it's supposed to be maintained. I think what ultimately killed him hair wise, you know, where he was talking about I can't bleach it anymore, I'm not going to have any more hair, is because he went from blonde to he went from blonde to platinum to silver because he did silver for a little while there at the beginning of 8 with Chick Chick Boom and whatnot. Back to blonde. And like all of that, like that amount of process
is platinum. I mean, that's not such a hard. I mean, it was silver, but it was like a platinum silver, so that could even been a toner over the platinum.
But it's that aspect of he was constantly processing.
No, and I know. And then he went to black, and then he bleached it black to blonde. That was, I mean, right then and there, I'm just like.
He was having issues before when it went to black, though, and I think it's because they kept whoever was doing his hair. I could be mistaken. I'm just pulling on my cosmetology roots here, and it's been a while, so I will admit that. But I have a feeling whoever was doing his hair, they weren't just doing the roots; they were bleaching everything.
Oh yeah,
and you don't need to do that at that point.
See this? This is called grow out, and see this? Yeah. This is the blonde part. You know what I'm saying? Like you do this part, and then you match this because it's going to lighten it, and then you put a toner on it, and it looks all good.
Yeah. And I think I think because
he's done this a million times.
Blonde, platinum, silver, blonde. Yeah. I think in that little span of time there during 8, they were over processing him. Yeah. And I don't know why. And I have a feeling that they were doing it frequently.
Right.
Like he never had grow out. He never had grow out.
Just like, a little bit. He would have like the little, what I call the Madonna root. You know what I mean? Like you would just barely see it, the black or the brown or whatever it was. Now it's funny. Pixie also said to me, she's like, I have a feeling Ginny's going to shave his head again. She's like, I don't know why. She just thinks it. And I'm like, I don't know. Cause he was like, he kind of likes this in between one because he can kind of do some different things, but who knows? We never know. Right. Cause he did say on Fans, I think he said, he goes, I could do it again. Or I feel like shaving. I may feel like shaving it again. Or somebody asked him, will you shave it again? And he was like, yeah, maybe. And she'd like to see Minnie with curls. And I'd like to see Chan with his natural curls back. But again, if he did that straightening thing like they said he did, he may have to cut his hair all off to be able to get the natural curl back.
Kind of. So because with the straightening perm that he had, that was starting to kind of wear off.
Yes, I saw it because you saw it in one of the
Yeah, you could see I forgot which couple stops it was at that it was like it was finally starting to wear, and it can only wear off to a certain extent. Obviously, it is what it is. It's chemically treated, so it's only going to go so far.
And I'd like to see Lino back lighter.
Silver.
I liked the silver, but I liked him when he had like the blonde, like it was like a blonde. I don't know. It was like a blonde brunette.
It was an ashy blonde. It was an ashy blonde. Yeah.
And that looked really good. And I mean, Chanbin said I think he said he likes black for now. I know IN said he liked the black for now. Like he really didn't.
I was talking about kind of going back to the ginger.
What? Because I remember one thing he's like, well, I like how it looks right now or something. Yeah, it's something. But and then Han, I don't know. The blue faded too fast. I think Blue Sung has that ship has sailed. I think he needs to do a little something different, but I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I mean, I liked him when he had his longer hair, when he grew his out, and he had like sort of like this kind of like mine, like this crazy kind of kinky, curly, honey kind of hair, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, it'd be interesting. We'll see on Thursday because they've got the show on Thursday, so we'll know on Thursday what changes, if any, there are.
If any there are, right?
Obviously, those blonde highlights we saw in Chan's hair in the video were temporary.
But those looked actually, I was like, ooh,
Yeah,
I like that.
That would have been
That's
interesting.
good. Yeah.
That would have been interesting.
I'm okay.
But they
All
were
right. Don't cut it.
separated.
Highlight it. Yeah.
So, you know, but he said he had a vision that he wanted to get to. Now, granted, whether or not he's patient enough to get there, I mean, it is Chris.
Story, yeah.
So it could be like that man's patience is a lot more ingrained than.
Yeah.
It's not like he's Ginny where he's just gonna be like, I'm gonna go get a piercing today. So, which, by the way, Hyunjin, bring back the brow piercing. Go to some place like really, really good, and bring back the brow piercing, please. Like I have any say in any of this. This is just my fantasy realm of what the guys should look like. But no, it's going to be interesting to see on Thursday what the changes will be, if any, because maybe the change is they don't do a change. You know,
I mean, it could be. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. I mean, they'd had the black for some of the shots. They had blonde, like I'm saying, like licks black, licks blonde, kind of thing, and then like Hyunjin with the blonde buzz cut and then like colored buzz cut. You know what I mean? So who knows? You know what? It's all going to be a surprise, and it's all going to be worth waiting for. So there you go.
I love the inference though of Ginny with the green for the promos because of the whole touch grass thing and how everybody keeps touching his hair. And like everybody keeps touching his hair. And if you didn't get that inference, if you didn't get that little subtle little it in there, I'm sorry. I'm spoiling it for you right now, but that's exactly what I thought as soon as I saw the green and him like doing the reshave of it was like, oh, go touch grass. Great, thanks. I get it. Yep, you all are just between that and the dating rumor thing.
They are so knee deep and stable. It's not even funny. Like the fact that now that they're allowed to be able to do that, to poke those little things.
That actually surprised me because I know whether it's fan service or whether it's real, I don't care either way. I am not, but regardless of what it actually is, the fact that that was left in.
Well, did you see though the second part of that? Like a lot of people didn't play it, but somebody did, and I did too. Hyunjin says something like, what do you say, licks? Or something like right afterwards, like right after that inference of the dating rumor, Hyunjin says, and it's almost like he's inserting himself, and then Felix goes, or global, or whatever that thing is. But it's a very little winky wink too. Like almost like, don't forget about us kind of thing. Yeah, go watch it again. It's very subtle, very subtle, very subtle. But somebody said it on Threads, and I was like, yes, I got it when I saw it. So
I am so ridiculously excited for this weekend just because it's gonna be a thing. Mainly because I am waiting, and I could be mistaken. I am waiting for like the Eddie Izzard stick a flag. This is if you know who Eddie Izzard is.
I'm sure some of our fans,
and I'm sure I apologize because I think they are going by Susan now. But if that's the case, I apologize. This is just it's what I can reference from the past. But there's a whole bit about do you have a flag? This is our land. Oh, but do you have a flag? And I have a feeling, I have a sneaking suspicion that this is officially the Skiz. Here's our flag.
Yeah.
This is ours now.
Yeah.
Like this is in it, and we are just gonna.
We're taking it back. You know what I mean? Like we're taking it back. Yeah. Yeah.
And all we can do is brace ourselves and take a seat. Like it's just it, and it would make sense. Because those guys have the long game planned out. Like nobody's.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, on Salon Drip, which was the show that Chanbin and Felix did. I've seen clips they've come across, but one of them it says, well, like we recorded it. Now I don't know when this was filmed, and it looks pretty recent. But he's like,
oh, hold on, lagging.
Yeah, like when we recorded today, and then Felix goes, no, the day after yesterday. So they're still recording stuff too.
Oh yeah, well they don't stop.
Sorry, there's sirens.
Sorry.
Yeah,
they don't stop.
They constantly,
There is no sleep in Stayville. There is no sleep in Stayville at all. And if you are new to Stayville, because obviously not only did the tour and 8 and that era bring in a lot of new Stay, but K-pop Demon Hunters brought in more.
Huge.
So,
like I've seen so many
actually,
things. I watched K-pop Demon Hunters, and now I have this blonde Korean man on my For You page, and I fell down the rabbit hole, and now I listen to Stray Kids.
And you know what? We are at the 45-minute mark. So why don't we leave this episode there, and then we will pick it up on the next one, and we can start off with K-pop Demon Hunters and the effect on Stayville. Does that work?
I was thinking we could. Well, I was thinking.
And then the 2 Kids Room.
I was thinking let's let this go because I don't know if I can do a second one.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, so we'll just keep going then.
Sorry.
All right, so that's okay. No, that's fine. But yeah, we get with the influx of Stayville. That if you are not, if this is your first comeback, first of all, welcome. Hi. I would give you brownies.
Not a baby stay anymore.
Yes, after this,
Christopher.
You are no longer a baby stay after your first comeback. So, so be prepared. But just and I love how Darian says it on Threads. I can't pronounce Darian's username, but I love you. She made my skazoo for me.
Oh, I know. Yes, I know who.
Mesomorphic.
Anyway, mesomorphic. Yes.
She's amazing. She is absolutely amazing. But as she puts it, comebacks are a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
Especially if you are coming from a different genre of music where you might get an album every couple of years. Comebacks are a marathon. They aren't sprints. And it is literally just one continuous marathon, essentially, in between. So make sure you're hydrating. Make sure you're getting your sleep because they're not doing it. So we need to get sleep for them.
Right.
Because there is no sleeping in Stayville. And
speaking of, because Hani just wrote a bubble about saying how he woke up early and went to the gym. Okay. Yeah, he said, I woke up too early, morning gym. Wow, I lost a lot of body fat. It came slightly.
And Lino's talking about going to bed. See, so we're just There's even when they do sleep, they're not.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are fed. If you listen, if you have a little bit of extra and can get their bubble, do it because it's fun.
It's fun. It is fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It's one of these things
in the middle of your day working at your desk and you're like, all of a sudden you're like, oh, like 45 pictures from Felix or Chan's asking us about how we take our cereal. It's just, it's fun. Anyways.
The cereal one. I'm sorry.
The 2 Kids Room. I'm sorry. We're off topic. Let's talk about 2 Kids Room.
2 Kids Room. So we also had 2 Kids Room, which was the Sunlicks. Sunlicks.
I know.
That just sounds weird.
I know.
Minlicks. Can we say Minlicks?
We could say feel.
No, Minlicks. Minlicks. No, because Minlicks. Anyway, it was the besties. It was definitely the besties. And it to me that was poor Seungmin, man. That man is trying to be all there and whatnot, and he just keeps getting thrown into the fields.
The 2 of them together are just so. It's funny because the reason Pixie Bach, myself, and Dragana Alexa, who's on Threads, we call ourselves the Roomies because we got through Threads and through Prince Racha, which is, for those that don't know, is Felix, Hyunjin, and Seungmin. But we got
I'm not sure how to help you with that.
Shh, Alexa, shush. She must have heard me say the whole thing. So, but we call each other the Roomies, and then we call, of course, obviously Felix and Seungmin are Roomies. So whenever we go, we're like, we love our Roomies, it's a thing. But it was just watching this. She's like, she texted me. She's like, did you see the 2 Kids Room? I'm like, no, I'm working. I'm like, but I am going to watch it. And then after that, then you asked me if I watched it. I'm like, yes, I've watched it already. But it was just, I loved how he's like, why do we look like a couple here? He's like, why did we pose like that? It's funny to look back at pictures, especially as you're looking at pictures of growing, because you do see such a difference from when they first started to now. You know what I mean? In their faces, in their demeanors, in their attitudes, and everything. So to see him and Seungmin, and then to see them play Beyblade while they're sitting there, and it was so cute. It feels like this is my favorite one, and I'm just like, and everybody can kind of commiserate with that because there's stuff from my childhood that I still very much like every once in a while my son will want McDonald's, and so I'm like, I get a Happy Meal, and like just to get the little toy, like right now it's Hello Kitty, X, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I have the cinnamon roll Michelangelo too. Is that not the cutest? Like I'm like, oh, and people are like, what is the matter with you? I'm like, because that's my nostalgia. I remember getting toys in the Happy Meal and being so happy with the little whatever you got. The Beanie Babies when they came out, people were going nuts for. I mean, come on. So
Yeah,
to me, like to see them playing Beyblades was like the cutest thing because I know they still do it. They said someone said they drink and they play Beyblades, which I think is adorable.
That's I want to be sitting in the room where they're drunk and playing Beyblades, or at least tipsy and playing Beyblades, because that would be flipping hilarious.
Yes, it would.
But there's also that aspect of that particular episode. You had the juxtaposition of them, kind of doing that whole nostalgia whatever thing with the Beyblades, and then talking about how much they have both matured,
right?
From since debut till now, and especially Licks. Like, I mean, because Seungmin, like Chan said, Seungmin's always had a couple of screws loose, and it's just whatever. But to see the progression of Felix from where he was and how the unbelievably cutesy skinship, yada yada, blah blah blah. Like it almost feels like, and I wasn't around during that time, so forgive me if anybody does not agree with this opinion, but this is my opinion. It feels to me almost that because of his voice and because of how deep his voice is, he almost felt like he needed to be the other extreme of that in a way. Because he is so innately just giving, and so but it doesn't match, right? It doesn't. It's like somebody who has resting bitch face. They might be the most warmest person in the world, but they've got resting bitch face, so they act in a certain way.
He's mentioned that too. He said when he's on stage, he has this very serious face that people think he's cold.
Yeah,
or when he's like listening, or if he's observing off stage, he has like this very when he's ready to work, and it's not how he is, and I get that,
but I almost feel like he played that innocence and that childlike.
Like remember though, like we talked about on the last episode, they do have certain roles that they have, and that was probably the one that was handed to him because of the way he looks.
I don't know if they were actually handed roles though, or if they just kind of innately
or discussed it. I mean, they could have discussed it based on personalities and spread it out, because that could be it too.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem to me from the get-go that they ever wanted to do the whole role thing.
No, and I don't think so either. But I think, with some of the lore, like if you're going to go, when they were doing some of the lore, I could see them more being a certain way than now. Now I think it's them. I mean, as much as them that they can be, I do think that now it's more. Yeah. And I do think that this album is going to be more genuinely who you want to know who Stray Kids is. This is they're showing you kind of thing. Like they're allowed to show you now what they're about kind of thing.
Yeah,
what I really
if you listen to the Three Racha stuff, like
yeah. But I also think I love that Seungmin trusted Felix enough to let him around his close friends that he grew up with. And how they treated him as like, even though he was sort of like, they thought he was a celebrity, that it wasn't, and now he like talks to them on his own and everything. It was just so sweet the way that they're integrated in each other's lives, and they've been roommates since the beginning all through. So I could see when Felix says we're like a married couple. It's true, because when you're with somebody for that long, of course you start to, riff off of that other person and pick up traits, which I think he does. Seungmin picked up better English for sure. I mean, I think his English has gotten considered. I mean, his English was always very good, but I think it's even better now. I think he feels more comfortable because he did a lot more talking at the North American shows than, And I also think that when he says, "Oh, Felix got a backbone," I think that's due to Seungmin telling him, "You can, like, don't let somebody step on you. Don't be like this." Well, I really think that was his influence.
I think the backbone, I think, was all of them, realistically speaking, at the end of the day. Just in general, because I could see where each of them, like I could see where Lino contributed to that. I could see where Chan contributed to that. I could see even where Changbin and Han and Hyunjin have contributed to that. I think what Felix mentioned it in the Two Kids room. I think what Seungmin helped contribute to in regards to Felix's maturity and competence is navigating Korea. Yeah. And, navigating, doing all that stuff, because obviously a lot of the quote unquote funny things that we see from Felix, early on, either pre-debut or around debut, are the mistakes he's made within the differences between, growing up in Australia and being born and raised in Australia compared to, because, yes, Chris was raised in Australia, but they were regularly going back to Korea for family trips. So he had more of that guidance, as it were, to be able to essentially code shift, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Whereas Felix didn't. Like Felix, plop, there you go, whole new society, whole new culture, whole new rules, regulations, expectations, you name it,
and language.
And
the
language.
fact that man learned to be as fluent as he was in just a year just still flabbergasts me.
Talking about putting yourself, and he talks about how he is not a good student.
He's talked about that several times.
How he's not. He has a hard time.
I believe. I think stuff he's interested in, he is, but I think just to be, you know what I mean. But I mean, like, just going back to the Salon Drip interview, he said something interesting that goes along with this. Was he said he feels more extroverted when he speaks English and more introverted when he speaks Korean.
Which makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because he's more comfortable speaking English. But at the same time, you'd think after all this time, especially since it's been 7 going on 8 years of speaking Korean and being in interviews and everything else, that maybe he would feel a little bit more out of his shell when it comes to speaking Korean. But when it comes down to it, and you saw it in when he was, on tour.
Yeah. Yeah, the times that he was, because Felix was a lot more. I mean, Felix and Chris have always been kind of the figureheads for communication for the group in general.
But I like seeing how it was shared. Yeah, this time with all the guys. But exactly.
That's one of the things I loved about the Orlando show is we literally got like 2 minutes of Lino talking in an English venue. Like usually he just says the hi, I'm Lino, and that's it, and you don't hear anything else from Lino for the rest of the if they're not in the Asian Pacific market, you get a hi and that's it, and he just lets the guys take care of all the other conversation. But we actually got like 2 minutes worth of Lino talking about Orlando, and I was like, thank you.
I love when he talks.
But it just meant a lot, because it's not
absolutely
he normally does. So, but you can see the comfort. Like, Felix has a backbone now. Like Felix probably always had one. It's just he finally the confidence he had pre coming to Korea, because he had it. You could see it. I've watched some of the early like his school performances and whatnot, and he had it.
But it does come with age, and especially their age that they're becoming. They're going to be 25, 26 Korean age, but 25. Yeah. Because they both say both. So I'm going to say both. I've seen them call themselves 26 already. I've seen them call 25, whatever. But regardless, that 25, 26 year age range, it's definitely a coming of kind of age. At least it was for me. Yeah, so I'm just saying, so it's you find this confidence, and then you find it again when you turn like 30 or 32, like that range, and then you find it again at the end of your 30s, and then you find it again in your 40s. And it's like, and it just keeps,
there's that aspect of 24 was a turning point year for me. So
absolutely, 24 to 20, I think it's a 2-year range between 24 and 26.
Depending on who you are and what your experiences are, but so there's that aspect of things, and I mean, like, and the same goes with like Chris and the older guys. You can see that shift when they finally hit their mid-20s, and now you've got the guys looking back, going, "Wow, Chris was younger than us, trying to do all this,
put us together,
and help us through it." Like, you could, and that's part of growing up, kids.
amazing. No,
But that's also part of growing up, kids.
Yeah.
You know, for that aspect of just but to watch Felix and Seungmin and to watch Seungmin sew in his field, because he obviously recorded that the same day he recorded the one with Chris, because he's in the same outfit. To watch Seungmin get all sorts of sentimental is just that's also nice to see, because he usually is the chaos king.
Yeah.
So it's kind of and you know it's there. You know it's there because you hear it when he sings. The song selections that he makes.
There's a lot of love there between the two of them, and it's just so beautiful to see. I mean, it was just like really like that. Like they truly are brothers. Like you could say the other guys are too, but seeing them the two together like that, they're brothers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that was very.
Was it them or was it the last two kids' room where they were talking? No, it was them, where they were talking about how, you know, as a group, they all were figuring out how to gel as the eight of them. But you had those, you had the folks that kind of paired up. Obviously, Lino and Han are soulmates, and soulmates can be platonic. I'm not saying that they are. I'm not saying that they aren't. I'm just saying that soulmates does not necessarily infer or mean anything other than that.
And you can have several. You don't just have one. But anyways, go ahead.
Exactly. And then, obviously Felix and Seungmin are in I don't know if I would say they're necessarily soulmate level attachment, but they are definitely that brother, like literally.
They're kindred. That's how I put it. They're kindred spirits. Yeah.
Perfect word. So you have that aspect of thing. Hyunjin and Changbin. There's that aspect of them with that too, where it's like, okay, these guys, because Changbin from the get-go just kind of made sure that Hyunjin felt accepted and was like, okay, no, you're doing the work, like you're not just a pretty face, and I'm gonna try to take some of that slack off you so that you can focus on what you need to focus on. So I mean that all happens, and it's just you see it with Chris and Felix. There's definitely that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That kindredness there too.
Sorry, I'm getting eyes from the door. Forgive me.
Okay, that's all right. So it's that aspect of you get that whole. It just needs to see the dynamics. I love the two kids rooms because I'm loving the two kids rooms this year.
Yes,
because they are actually like the rest of them were kind of. Some of them got pretty deep. Some of them got pretty deep.
Yeah.
But overall, it was. I mean, you're watching younger guys kind of navigate stuff, and now you're finally seeing them as fully developed prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
And how that's shifted the conversations for them.
Absolutely.
Yep. And how that's they are. Hyunjin's not nearly as erratic or impulsive as he used to be. I mean, he is, but he still is, but he's not as much as he used to be. Felix has a backbone now. Seungmin's a bit more in his feels and feels comfortable showing that aspect of things. Even Lino was the Lino and Hyunjin one. You saw Lino opening up more because Lino's always been very, very introverted with just not wanting to necessarily share outside of work. And he's talking about them sneaking out of the house.
Yeah,
so there's and I love seeing that. I love seeing that.
And I can't wait to see more. It's going to be fantastic.
We got 20 more episodes.
Yes. So yay, we have much more episodes to talk about on our episodes.
Yes, exactly. And I'm thinking that that's probably a good stopping spot for this episode.
Yep.
Realistically speaking. See how.
Yes. So thank you for our one viewer. We appreciate you.
Yes. Our one live viewer. We are getting I've been noticing
that we are having people in playback.
Yeah,
correct.
We'll have people on the replays. So again, since we're kind of coming to the end of this, I will do the finishing up with please make sure you're smashing all the buttons. And yes, one of these days I will actually figure out how to put the audio in of that. That being said, or that's going to become a running joke and I'll never do it. And I'll just keep saying that I'm doing it. Right. And then I'm purely showing that I am a Chris bias because it will just completely align with that. But we are coming to the end of this episode. We will be going live tomorrow at 3, if I remember correctly. We'll be doing 3 tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I can do 3 to 4. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do another one tomorrow. We'll do episode 7 tomorrow. But for today, we're coming to the end of tonight. So we hope that you enjoy the playback if and when you take a look at this. And I am going to sign off for the evening by saying, let's get out there and be the best damn fandom that Stray Kids deserve and make our guys proud as hell. Thank you for joining us here. I am Chrysalis.
I am JC.
We are
We'll see you
STAYtalk,
later.
and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.